Videos about measuring energy changes. So the keyword in the question is to sketch a enthalpy level diagram for this reaction right here. And the concept of this question is the enthalpy level diagram. So the enthalpy diagram shows the change in energy before and after a reaction. So we're going to demonstrate this using both endothermic reaction as well as exothermic reaction. So first we need to draw out a diagram. So we would just have an X and a Y axis, which is something look like this. And then on our Y axis, we need to label it as energy. And on the X axis, we label it as direction of reaction. Or we can also say the progress of reaction. So first off, let's talk about endothermic reaction. So remember, endothermic is when heat is lost, meaning the reactants is absorbing heat. So the reactants is gaining energy. That means the reactants need to start off with a lower energy level. And then as the reaction progresses, we would end up with a product of a higher energy level. So we can draw out something that looks like this in our diagram. And an example of an endothermic reaction is N2 plus O2 to make 2NO molecule. And then the change in energy is the delta H value, and because it's an endothermic reaction, the delta H value would need to be positive, which is greater than 0. Moving on to exothermic reaction, it will be the opposite. During the reaction, there will be a release of heat. So the reactants is losing energy in the form of heat. So we would have a reactant with high energy level, and then as the reaction progresses, we end up with a lower energy level product. And an example is simply a combustion reaction. So we would have C plus O2 to make CO2. And again, the change in energy is also the delta H value, but now it needs to be a negative value, so less than 0. So we can go, now let's look back at our question. So in our question, it tells us what is the value for the delta H, and we can see that this value here is a positive value. So we know this reaction is an endothermic reaction. Draw out a diagram with energy on the y-axis and direction of reaction on the x-axis. And again, it's an endothermic reaction. So we would have a lower energy reactants and a higher energy products. And we can label in, for the reactants, we write CH4 in gaseous state, and for the products, we write CH3 gaseous plus hydrogen gaseous state. So you just, and then for the change in energy level, we simply need to fill in and use the delta H value, which is positive 414. And remember to write in the units as well, kilojoules per mole. And that is our final answer.